where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandopi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pileski goes, dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys. Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pileski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. You know, it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the lap car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass a little. A 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Two no-shows for Friesch, and suddenly the game is on. Bycroft and Wood have a sniff of the championship crown, and it's likely they'll be using these final 5 rounds to make sure it doesn't slip through their fingers. But today's race at Spa will mean drafting could keep things tight and leave us guessing until the line who's going to get it today. Indeed, someone else could even pip those two to the champagne. We'll find out who comes out on top in the forests of Belgium as we get ready to watch round 8 of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Stefan Schlacher. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Steph, the scream of these Cosworth engines just feel at home here. Old cars at old tracks just feels right.
Joe, I don't know what goes better together, these Cosworth engine and Spa or vanilla ice cream on a hot and sunny day. In all seriousness, the Ardennes Forest Circuit has pretty much everything you want from a track. Fast sections, slow sections, height difference, and great flow. 19 turns in total make up these 7,007 meters exactly, and every single one throws a different challenge at you. What do those challenges look like? Well, you're gonna find out now as we take you on board a lap with our GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Juha Noralampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Spa. The source hairpin is an excellent place to pass, but it's also super dangerous on the first lap. Cars packed tightly together on a sharp hairpin, all eager to gain positions, is just a recipe for contact. Your exit off the corner will definitely be a critical one. As you fly down the hill, you're quickly approaching Eau Rouge, and with the ground effects of the 79, it's easily flat through this frightening set of bends. And that's why the run from La Source is so important. You're not lifting all the way until you reach Lacombe. The Kimmel Straight is going to be chock full of draft battles all race long. It'll definitely be a strategic fight if you can stay within the slipstream of your opponent throughout the lap up until here. But the braking for the chicane offers chances to attack or defend from the inside or the outside. The switchback allows some unique situations for the brave. Around Malmedy, you've now hit the highest part of the circuit. Immediately, the track begins to plunge back downhill, and the first corner you'll meet is Rivage. Like most cars, you'll be fighting understeer, but you won't have much time to switch sides and set up for no-name corner. Be careful not to let the car get upset by the curbing, since it could spin you out if a bump causes it to bottom out. Up ahead, you can see the valley where the lap began, but no time to sightsee because you gotta chuck it into Puhan. If you don't drift wide, you can hold it flat out through the second half. The immense power of this car and the help from the drop in elevation means you'll be carrying a terrifying amount of speed by the time you hit Fandies. That'll make it tricky to get the car into each apex, but the most consistent drivers will find it paying off in lap time. Once again, get the car across the track because you're quickly thrown into Stavelot. The first half can be tough, but the one you want to focus on is the second half. A small lift will get you through, and ideally getting back to the gas early should gain you lots of lap time. This is the other longest portion of the circuit with your foot flat to the floor. Cars within a reasonable distance behind will start creeping forward in your mirrors. No lifting through Blanchimont, so keep that right pedal planted. Then, drift the car off to the left and throw out the anchors for the bus stop. This will be another popular overtaking spot, but keeping from overshooting the corner will prove tough even by yourself. Stay off the giant sausage curbs and then gently get back onto the gas. If you manage to keep it together, you've now finished a lap around Spa.
See a lap up and down those hills that Steph was talking about, but we're waiting a little bit here for the first laps to trickle in because of the long lap time. So let's take a chance to look at the Drivers' Championship points. As I mentioned, Gernot Friesch is saved a little bit by the drop weeks, but again, with 2 of those gone, he is sort of riding on a knife's edge. He's going to have to really show up and perform. Matt Wood jumps up 1 spot ahead of Steve Bycroft, and then Adam Frazier as well is jumping up. But really, the big news is Sergio Fernandez there, 12 positions up to make the top 5 for the Iberian. Let's, of course, take a look at the Teams Championship. Steph, where are those sitting currently?
Well, Martini Racing Team Lotus is your current P1 holder. That's Adam Frazier and Peter Cornici. They're 140 points to their name, but that Team Williams behind Gernot Frazier and Glenn Corrigan, just 1 point behind in P2. Then we have Renault, 11 points behind. McLaren, 25. So you're already seeing incredible tight there. Barry West and Alex Milward for that P4 Marlboro Team McLaren. And then you have Parmalat Racing Team Brabham, 27 points behind, 18 drop points to their name. They gained the position from last round, so extremely tight in the Team's Championship.
Yeah, that's going to be thrilling as the last 5 rounds work their way through. Let's take a look at the race details today as well. We are in round 8, as I mentioned, and we have those 4 drop weeks. And don't forget, the teams have 2 drop weeks of their own, so you do have some leeway for some bad days. Now, the race length today is only going to be 21 laps just because it is so long to make your way around. They do have open setups on these cars, but just like they had in 1978, there is no scheduled stop for fuel, nor tires, really, if we're honest. If you have to come into the pits, it is a bad day. The incident cap is at 17. We'll talk about that a little bit later. That's sort of notorious here at Spa. And the points that they're using for our points championship are the official iRacing points. Currently still even waiting for these drivers to come around to get their first timed lap in, but we're expecting names like Nora Lampe, Wood, Kochi to all be fast. Sergio Fernandez tends to do well over a Trangerade. We're watching the Finn currently, coming off of a win last week. Jean-Francois Bosque is going to come across. Let's see if this is his first timed lap or not. Of course, running the GP course, so as he crosses the line, it is going to be his first time lap. A 2:07.6 is just behind Kochi, and now Matt Wood is going to come up to the top. They're all streaming across very quickly here, Steph.
Yeah, and right now 2:05.8 to the name of Matt Wood, as we're going to look now at Sergio Fernandez, who is going into the chicane. And he obviously doesn't have a time yet. Really slow in that second apex, nearly loses the car there.
Big wheel spin.
And yeah, what I wanted to say, Joe, this is probably the spot that we have to look out today with that wheel spin of these bricks, pretty much.
Yeah, these cars kind of known for having a lot of power underneath them and being really picky in slow corners. So what does Nora Lampe have? This will be his first timed lap. He crosses the line, and this one is going to be a 2:05.3. That is good enough for pole, about half a second faster than Matt Wood. He's got some work to do. Riding on board with Adam Frazier now, hasn't put a time in. So we watch him. We've also got a few, I don't know if we want to call them old names, but some old familiar names, let's put it that way. Jesper Derlicka is here today. Andrea Ventura returns. Amjad and I were reminiscing of racing against him in years past here in iRacing. Frazier puts in a 2:06.4, and that bumps him up to the 3rd row.
Yeah, those are names that you're gonna have to run into eventually if you're already a bit longer on iRacing. So nice to see them on the screen today as Adam Frazier, we said it, put in a lap P6. That was his first time lap, as Nicola Kochi is now going to come around for their second lap.
Out of the bus stop chicane, a 2:06.3 is his fastest. His second and last lap is a 2:05.7. It's good enough for the front row. Oh, and not anymore, because Matt Wood comes across and sets a 2:05.5 within 0.2 of Nora Lampe. Still, nobody can dispose of the Preacher.
Yeah, and the next car to go over the line, who is that? That's Dustin Herrera with 2:06.5, so he improved by 0.5 there up to P7.
Jesper Derlicka, 2:07.7. Not very good today, but we should point out that this is a split race. This is a top split of 2. So this is the cream of the crop that they're up against. That P17 is, or P13, I should say, is still pretty high up there in the grand scheme of things. Just unfortunately, he's not racing against those other cars that are slower than him, as Juha Nora Lampe, with a bit of mistake, unfortunately going to abandon that second lap, but really doesn't need it.
No, and in total we had 33 drivers sign up today. 30 is the split number, so we have 17 here, 16 in the bottom split as we look at Andrea Ventura, who sits in 4th place right now with a 2:06.099.
This is going to be the last car to get a lap. Maybe not. Adam Frazier botches the bus stop chicane, and Barry West is way too far back to complete his lap. So that sets our grid. Let's go through your starting order. Juha Nora Lampe going to try to go for his second win in a row. Matt Wood going to try and do better than that since he's fighting for the championship in second place on the grid. Nicola Cocci starts from third. The outside of row 2, Andrea Ventura coming back with aplomb. David Rolfe is going to be starting in P5 with Alex Millward starting 6th. Then it's Adam Frazier managing 7th place in his one-time lap. Dustin Herrera in P8 and Pablo Suarez in 9th. Rounding out your top 10 is going to be Sergio Fernandez.
Peter Konechny in 11th place with a 2:07.058 to his name. Jean-Francois Boscus misses out on that 11th place down in 12th. Jesper Derlicka 13th place overturning rate, not quite used to that 7 being so way low, but he is sitting in 14th away to go up there. Melina Mann 15th, Rodrigo Capelletto, who we just saw a few moments ago in the BNI race, in 16th, and Barry West rounds up your field of 17 drivers here today at Spa-Francorchamps.
And it is pretty good conditions. It is only 85 degrees on the track surface. You can see there's a number of clouds, but we've still been getting some sunshine poking through. Should be relatively grippy because of that, and low winds definitely bodes well for our competitors. Just waiting for the rest of them to grid up. Ove, Trangarade, Nora Lampe, Millward, Ventura, the last of them to make it out there. Our pole sitter on the grid. Ventura going to be the last one to find his way up to the starting grid, so hopefully he doesn't start from the pit lane. There he is now. So with that, the engines will start to rev. The lights come up. It's round 8 here at Spa. Green flag is out and off the line. It looks decent for our pole sitter. He immediately tries to cover off, coming to the racing line. Nora Lampe just covering the inside, a little bit of 3 wide behind them. Most everybody looks like they're going to make it through clean. Nice start for the top split here.
And Alex Millward right now side by side with Andrea Ventura there, but that is going to get sorted out as Andrea lifts into Eau Rouge to let that single file happen again. But Matt Wood on the heel of Nicola Cocci for P2.
One car way wide there through Eau Rouge. I think that was Melina Mann, but managed to survive it. So as they come up to Lacombe, well clear for Nora Lampe, but a battle for second place as Cocci gets passed by Wood. He manages to find his way through. Can he take Nora Lampe after that? Oh, bit of a big checkup for Andrea Ventura as he gets roughed up by Pablo Suarez back there in Malmedy, but doesn't wreck because of it.
Alex Millward at the same time also did overtake Adam Frazier for that 6th position, so he went back into his old starting position. So pretty much no changes except for that Matt Wood getting... No, actually that's no changes at all now for your P5.
Yeah, Coach, he started in 3rd. He just had a really good start off of the source. And behind them, David Rofe and Nicola Kochi might be fighting for the last podium spot. There you can see the 4th place driver now coming up into Stavilo. And then they're going to get a long time on the throttle here, Steph.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest run here out of Stavilo through Curve Palferer and Adam Fraser right now side by side. Oh, that was close there with Alex Millward. Up to Blanchimont they go.
Well, Millward's going to play it brave, but he's going to take the off track using that paved runoff. That gives him the inside down into the bus stop chicane. They're still going to be side by side into here. Finally at the second apex, once again being liberal with the track limits, but Millward comes out on top.
Has to be careful, only has 16x to give, and it's 21 laps, so already used up 2 in just 1 lap.
So a little bit frantic here in the mid-pack. It's very different from the top spots, who very much settled in. But Norlampi has taken advantage of that battle behind him because he's already stretched out to about 1.5 seconds. Steph, I have to imagine that's free of the drafts in these cars.
Yeah, everything past 2 seconds is draft free. Technically, there's still a draft down to 2.5 seconds, but that is pretty much non-existent. It just gives you a little bit of aero push, but no real advantage to your top speed. But Matt Wood, he most certainly will now look only ahead to Johan Norlampi, put him under some pressure, put some lap times down, because Nicola Kochi right now has nothing for Matt Wood.
Indeed, Kochi's still looking in his mirrors because David Rolfe has been threatening a little bit of a battle coming up the Kimmel Straight, but now they've settled it out as they plunge down through Puhan. Let's see if maybe he can get enough of a run, maybe get a surprise attack, but nothing doing there for the number 11 car. Still closes up under braking. Certainly giving the Italians something to think about.
Yeah, exactly. And as the sun comes out yet again, for a little peek on our cars. David Roth not really with the best exit out of Stavilo, so he will not be able to challenge Kochi through Blanchimont, but he might be there for the chicane.
Temperature's actually gone down quite a bit. It's now 76 degrees on the track surface. David not going to take a peek down into the bus stop, but definitely gets awful close under braking. Jumping back behind them, we can't forget we got quite a train for 7th place. That's being led by Suarez. Dustin Roeder is chasing him. Peter Koneski is behind him. Then you've got Andrea Ventura and Sergio Fernandez also clinging to the end of it.
Yeah, and Millward really close to Roth right now.
Oh yeah, that could be a pass here on the Kimmel Straight. So Roth having to switch from attack to defense. Millward, he's got the toe. Does he take it? He's reeling him in. Looks down to the inside into Lacombe, but he's not brave enough on the brakes, and immediately Rolfe takes to the apex.
I wouldn't say not brave enough. That was just Rolfe just incredible braking capabilities there. Even outbraked Nicola Kochi, making the turn easily enough and being able to stay ahead of Alex Millward there.
As they work their way through No Name. Ooh, a little off the apex. So Rolfe a little rattled, and Millward thinks about it for a second, but thinks better of it before trying to send one into Puhan, so he's going to stay in line. This has allowed Adam Fraser to get close behind them. It is now a 3-way fight for 4th place.
Yeah, and behind, I have to say this, we missed the overtake from Dustin Herrera, who did overtake Pablo Lumbrera Suarez, so Dustin Herrera now in P7.
Immediately under attack from Peter Koneski as well. So just can't catch a break. They're going to come up to the run here towards Blanchimont. Let's see if Koneski can do anything with his slipstream. Looks like he's just a little too far back for this to be effective. They swing through that quick left-hander up towards the bus stop. And they all accordion together as they hit the brakes.
small little battle packs forming already. The first one obviously for the P4 of David Roth, between himself, Millward and Fraser, and then in behind for Herida, that's P7, between him, Suarez and Peter Konishny in 9th.
Stay with this fight, but you can see at the top of your screen the battle that's not coming together is the battle for the lead, because Noah Lampe set another fastest lap over Wood. Let's jump up to Rofe because he's under threat by Millward. Alex looking to the inside one more time. Last time David was stronger on the brakes, but this time he's fully alongside him as they come to the apex. Is he going to squeeze him out? Yes, he is. Alex Millward with an aggressive move to get himself up to 4th place.
Great pass there by Millward. This time around, he was getting side by side already on the straight, not at the end already. There we go on the replay, and just able to this time keep it even on the brakes, lifts them ever so slightly to run out to the outside and cut off the track for David Roth.
And let's watch Konecki here. I think he get an overtake on Suarez.
He actually had an incident in Brussels.
Watch that one from above.
How lucky is Suarez though?
Yeah, I think he got 3 wheels in the air here. Whew, goodness. Although that could have given him some damage. So hopefully he'll be able to continue at pace. Suarez still in 8th place. Got a lot of laps to go, taking a way wide line. Just abandoning off past the AstroTurf there and comes back to the pavement. That, of course, is going to put him under threat from Sergio Fernandez now, who gains a lot of time for how wide he went.
And a quick update for our Brazilian fans. Rodrigo Capeletto, he sadly received a throughput, so his internet shoes ran out and he is out of the race.
Connection issues for Rodrigo. That is a shame. Another fastest lap for our leader, Noah Lampe. It is now up to 2.5 seconds over Wood. The only saving grace for Wood is that he actually really isn't in the championship fight with Noah Lampe at the moment. So at this point, he's really more concerned about Millward behind him back in 4th, who's decent ways back.
Yeah, and talking about Millward, Roth is going to the inside of him, trying to take it back through Lecombe, trying to do the same thing as Millward did to him last lap around. Is not able to do so, but no detach!
Millward goes around. Nice avoidance by Adam Fraser, but is not able to overtake Rofe in that action. We're going to take a look at the replay. Is a little bit of a sketchy rejoin there from Millward. Eventually pulled off the track. Wonder if he got too bad of suspension damage from that. Credit to Rolf. I mean, he stayed with it all the way to Malmedy, but let's see what happened here from above. He was a little off the apex, but that seems more like a racing incident to me.
It's a bit hard to say that one. I think both parties are to blame here a little bit. Rolf most definitely was off the apex. And then also Millward was turning a little bit too sharp in to give Rolf enough space. So yeah, it's just down on both parties there, that one.
Alex doesn't seem to think so. He was expressing his displeasure over the radio. And that did cause him to take a tow. So he could be our next retirement for today. This has, however, kept the action alive because Rolf now has Adam Fraser fighting him for that 4th. But David's been fitting off all comers, whether by force or just by good attack and defense. Let's see what Fraser's got for him as they come up to La Source. He's close, but maybe he'll want to wait for after this. Ooh, nice and tight through the corner, but maybe a little too tight as his momentum's interrupted by Rolf. David gets himself a handy little gap, and that could be his saving grace as they come up towards Lecombe after Eau Rouge here. He's going to get a little bit of a tow. And he's gaining on him. I don't think this is going to be enough, though, Steph.
Yeah, Fraser seems to run a little bit more downforce than Rolf, because he really did catch up through Radillion. but after that he stalled out in that draft, so Ruff continues to stay in P4.
As this battle has been close, we don't need to go to it. I'll give a shout if it gets closer, but Matt Wood is feeling pressure from Kochi for P2. This really is the much better battle that we're watching on screen right now. Is a big bobble coming out of No Name.
Even the Audi GTO driver would have been proud of that slide.
Adam Frazier staying right in the tire tracks of David Rolfe. Coming through the chicane. Just riding underneath that rear wing, maybe setting him up for the launch off of Stavolo. Let's see what he's got. Ooh, this is looking much better for David now. Or excuse me, for Adam, I should say. Coming up to Blanchimont. Is he going to send one into the bus stop? He's about a car length back. He could take a dive if he wants it. He's got a wing in. He's got a wheel in. He's got the apex, but he doesn't have the second apex. As David is going to try to get a better run, he does not. They come onto the pit straight. Here comes Adam, looking the long way around of La Source hairpin. Can he finally get this one done? He's being made to work for it. Once again, carrying better momentum, and he seals the deal.
Yeah, Adam Frazier clearly with the more downforce in his car through Blanchimont, now also through Dario. You can see how David Rolfe has to ever so slightly be slower, but this means that he can benefit from the draft way more, and here he comes back again.
Covering off the inside, Adam Frazier. Gonna make him work the long way around, breaking down for Lacombe. Takes the first apex and says, no, you will not. Oh, but he's off on Malmedy. Is this gonna open the door? David can't quite take advantage.
Yet again, a little slide from Adam Frazier there. So really treating his tires not that good right now. But these tires can be treated bad. That's no problem for them at all. They are quite, I would say they're your lifelong guaranteed tires.
But look behind them. All this battling has caused Dustin Hiroter and Sergio Fernandez to really gain on them. So these two storms are about to meet. We'll see what happens then. They've actually got another one behind them between Suarez and Ventura. It'll be fascinating if we get 2 or 3 two-car battles all coming together at the same time. We're only on lap 7 as well. There's still so much racing left to go. It may seem a little bit boring up front with Norlampi stretching it to 3 seconds, but we've been given plenty of entertainment in the mid-pack.
Yeah, and even Kochi is keeping Matt Wood honest. He isn't there in striking range, but he is there if Matt Wood makes a small mistake. Kochi then really is under that rear wing as we jump up to them on the onboard with Nicola Kochi.
The Italian giving chase through Eau Rouge and Radion onto the Kimmel straight. Just a little too far back at about 7/10 behind. So he'll get a little bit of a tow, but unfortunately not enough to really help him do something over Matt Wood. There you see the distance. Great shot from above between them and Juha Norlampi. The Preacher's got the number 1 on his car today, and you can see why.
Yeah, and in behind, Adam Frazier tried to break the draft down Camel Straight and really did sneak quite hard down mid. David Rolfe in the middle just stopped following him and just drove around him in the middle. So yeah, very interesting tactics by Adam Frazier, which did lead to Dustin Hiroter closing really in on David Rolfe.
Don't have any real incredible hard chargers, although you could count Adam Frazier as one of them. Gained 3 positions from the start. 7th on the grid, now up to 4th. He's only 9 seconds behind the lead as well, so he's been keeping a very good pace. In fact, he's leaving Rolf behind something fierce now.
Yeah, Rolf made a mistake through Piff Path, which is now leading to Dustin Harrider really being in a draft of Rolf, so something might soon happen for that P5. Also, the pedal for P8 is closing in between Pablo Suarez and Andrea Ventura.
This three-car fight weaves its way through the bus stop. Oh, and all that hard work. David suddenly throws it all away with a spin out of the bus stop. That sends him back down to 9th. And after we watch this, immediately after, Ove Trangerade also lost it in the chicane. Rolf, however, was on the way out. You could see spinning the tires. Trangerade was on the way in.
Trangerade actually got help there in his spin by Barry West, so we're gonna see that right there. Barry West missing his braking point. He's, as we're on the replay, letting Ove Trangerade again past. But yeah, that was a little bit of an unfortunate moment there. Barry West just ever so slightly missing his braking point, and Ove Trangerade happened to be in the way, sadly, there.
Apparently taking some liberties with history here in sending Honda into the 1978 championship. And actually, this is great sportsmanship. West slowed up and gave him the spot back. Let's go up to P5, though, Steph. Looks like the action getting tight there.
Yeah, Fernandez just overtook Dustin Hiruda through Lecumbe. So, he's now your P5 driver, obviously. Who was it? Rolf also spun there, as we have seen already. So, they're now fighting for that P5 position. And they have to be careful because Pablo Suarez, he is on a little bit of a mission to get these two guys fighting for that P5.
And Dustin certainly looked like he wanted.
Totally reminded me of my Road America setups in the Audi 90 GTO, because that car always was incredibly unstable.
Let's watch an onboard of that. Yeah, that's this is some great car control.
You know, it's not about how you slow down, it's when you slow down.
Exactly. As long as you're not abusing the tires too much and you make the corner, that's all that counts. Oh, well, it looked a lot less dramatic from there, but from my angle, man, that thing was snapping. Well, maybe I oversold it. So as we come back live, Dustin Hiroder still on the back of Sergio Fernandez. Lap 10 out of 21. They come through No Name, still not able to take the spot back from the number 6 car. Let's jump back behind them. Andrea Ventura and Pablo Suarez duking it out for what is now 7th place. This track not typically known for attrition, but it certainly tests drivers, especially in this car. And Steph, it seems like really part of just getting a good finish today is just keeping it pointed forward.
Yeah, pretty much, especially with a car like this that really doesn't like low speed turns or low speed acceleration. With pretty much having no downforce on the top, it's all that underfloor that generates your draft or your downforce here. So really, that doesn't work at all on low speeds, as Ventura takes a wide line through Blanchimont, doesn't utilize anything of that. Actually did lift a little bit, so he doesn't get past or up to Pablo Suarez. There are a few more dangerous spots obviously on this track, but as long as you, as you said, can keep it straight and keep it off the off-tracks, you're good to go.
Yeah, we're getting farther into the race. I wonder how many are starting to get kind of dangerous with those off-track counts. For those who aren't familiar with iRacing, the incident counts are basically any, as we switch to the battle for second place here, this is between Kochi and Wood, any time you go beyond what iRacing deems the track limits, as well as have a spin or contact with the wall or another car, you rack up a certain amount of incident points. When you hit 17 of those, at least in this series, you are disqualified on the spot. You disappear into the Twilight Zone, and it's not uncommon at Spa to see a number of drivers fall victim to that. Plunging down the hill through Puhan. Atwood and Kochi have been pretty much stuck at a stalemate. They haven't really separated too far apart, but they also haven't gotten too terribly close either in this battle for second place. It's worth mentioning that they've stabilized the gap between themselves and Norlampi, but Steph, I have a feeling that's more the Preacher just managing the gap from here.
Yeah, it seems like that Yuha is allowing them to stay close rather than they are able to stay close. The leader giveth, the leader taketh. But right now, he doesn't either. He just, you're here, I'm here. You stay where you are, I stay where I am. And we're all fine and good. Matt Wood probably wanting to have the same with Nikola Kochi at this moment. Just stay behind me as long as I stay in front of you.
Is that a little Preacher joke you made there?
Maybe.
Maybe. So as we follow Nikola Kochi on board, looking on the roll hoop, this will give us a great idea of what the slipstream is like from this far back. He's about 5/10 back now. He's got a little bit of dirty air coming over. You can see the correction he had to made over the top of Radion. So on the Kimmel straight, he starts to gain a little bit, and it only gets up to 0.4 of a second, so it's really not worth much to him right now. Back down in P7, we were watching Suarez. Well, that has gotten very close between himself and Andrea Ventura, who's trying to work the long way around into Lacombe.
And does so as Suarez had to lift off the brake and nearly snaps his car around because of that. That gives the easy overtake to Andrea Ventura, who is now in 7th position.
One needs to tell Suarez this is not dirt racing. That was a big old slide coming into the Lacombe chicane, but he held it together. He gets demoted to 8th in the process. Look behind them as well. David Rolfe trying to run away from Peter Konecki. And Rolfe is essentially on a recovery drive now. Had his spin coming out of the bus stop. Chicane lost a number of positions. Doesn't seem like he's been able to do much since then, unfortunately.
Yeah, he is faster than the two guys ahead of him, so he will sooner or later catch Pablo Lambres Suarez and probably will make short notice of his overtake.
Talk about a clashing of worlds. You've got the Texan of Jesper Derlicka versus the French driver of Jean-Francois Boscus. This is for P11 out on track. Jesper started this race in 13th. He's trying to hold on to the 2 spots that he gained, while he was incredibly dominant in GTE cars over in the PRL series. As we've got an attack from Jean-Francois, but not enough of one as he backs out of it. He's still given the apex by Jesper. Goes deep into the bus stop chicane. He'll get another bite of the apple. Coming up towards La Source, Boscus has a good run, sticks his nose in, takes the apex down through the hairpin, and I think he's got it done now. So he demotes Derlicka down to 12th. As I was saying, Steph, we saw him take a number of wins over in the GTE cars with fuel saving, but unfortunately that strategy can't help him here today.
Not at all, no. Jesper normally very good on that fuel no matter what car, so he probably even has a little bit less fuel on board than here. But the French car, not able to beat him there. And what in the world is happening here?
Ow! Well, downforce high on Jesper, and maybe it was a slowdown for Jean-Francois. Checking to see if he came close to cutting the course through Eau Rouge.
I don't think so.
No, he was It was perfectly fine. Not sure what happened there. That was bizarre.
Well, not the first time a French car has some engine problems. But yeah, that means now Bosco's back behind Jesper Deliker, who gets back his 11th place. I guess Sean has to try yet again to get that one back.
And here I thought you were going to say not the first time a Frenchman has given up. But anyways, as we jump up towards P9, David Rolf and Peter Konietzki fighting for 9th place still. Peter certainly has been holding on to the back of this number 11 car.
Yeah, lap times are very similar since Peter got to the back of David, or David got ahead of Peter rather. Last lap, 4/10 between them. Let's see how it was this time around. 7.444 for Peter, and David Roth with a 7.6. So once again, Peter clinging on, having the lasso 100% out and around the neck of David Roth.
What's 8 laps to go now as we're closing in towards the end of the race. And most of the rest of the field, we're not really missing anything. Everybody's sort of stabilizing and getting a gap amongst each other. This is one of the closest fights. Riding on board with Peter. Closing in a little bit down the Kimmel Straight, but he is definitely too far back. We had a lot of excitement in the first half of the race, but now everybody, maybe these incident limits, maybe it's calming them down, thinking survival mode. I just got to get to the finish. I can't fight too hard.
Yeah, I think that's down to how Spice and the Lotus 79. The Lotus always opens up a little bit on lighter fuel and worn tires. It gets a little bit looser, it gets a little bit more turny. It wants to turn in more, it wants to accelerate a bit more sideways than you're used to on the full fuel load. It's just how this car plays out on these tires and this track, and they all have to feel into that again. But once they have that again, I think we will get back to some fighting for the last handful of laps.
I certainly hope so. These drivers can be fierce in their attacks at times. As fair as they like to play, they certainly don't come at it half-hearted. Peter still trying everything he can, but just seems about stuck at this half-second back. Up to Blanchimont one more time, looking from the gearbox of David Rofe. Nice and tidy through there. And into the bus stop chicane. Nothing doing. They might be gaining a little bit on the cars ahead. That is Suarez and Ventura. Ventura seems to have lost out more than most on this race, having started 4th and unfortunately being all the way down to 7th. And incredibly, in this 17-car field, only 2 DNFs so far. Capoleto being one due to internet connection. Millward had a little bit of a tangle, unfortunately, and the damage was too much for him to continue. Had it towed to the pits. Last car still running is Molina Man.
Another guy who, has stalled out a little bit behind is Jean-Francois Boscus, who is completely stalled out behind Jesper Deliker since his mistake, or whatever that was, into LeCun. Just not able to do anything anymore to Jesper, so maybe he has picked up some damage or something.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. We ride on board looking just over his front wing, keeping Derlicka under pressure. Come out of no name towards Puhan. Maybe we'll see another attack from Jean-Francois. Certainly is keeping his car in contact. This is now the closest battle on the track because Peter has fallen off of of Rofe. Let's run you down through the field real quick just to give you an update if you're just joining us on what's been happening so far in this race. With 6 laps to go, Nora Lampi has led every lap. He put it on the pole. He opened up a gap of roughly 3 seconds. It's since then been yo-yoing back and forth between that and about 2.5 seconds, but we do believe that this is Noah Lampe managing the gap more than anything. That's ahead of Matt Wood, that you see in second place. The Ferrari has himself had a little bit of pressure from behind, and that is from the Italian Nicola Cocci, but Cocci's dropped back. It is 1.5 seconds. It's been as close as a half a second behind, but the last car on the podium has not been able to do anything with the UKNI driver. Adam Fraser sits in fourth place, and he has basically been there due to a little bit of attrition, a little bit of a charge. He started in seventh. He's been our hard charger for part of the race, but the most positions gained so far, I believe, goes to Sergio Fernandez, who rounds out our top 5, started in 10th, sits in 5th place, and is sort of in no man's land, 4 seconds ahead of the next car. Steph?
Yeah, and that next car in line is Dustin Herrera, right now in 6th position, 19 seconds in total behind your leader. Andrea Ventura, 7th place. He, or as I mentioned, started in 4th place, 21 seconds, 21.5 seconds behind your leader. Pablo Lumbreras Suarez, one day I will get that name right, the first try, sits in 8th place from 9th, and he is also part of your closest battle, that is between himself and David Roth, and also Peter Kolnitsny there. That's all for P8. Suarez a little bit ahead of them. Roth in 9th and Kolnitsny in 10th place. Roth probably also your biggest loser in this race, having lost 4 positions in total thus far.
Another fastest lap, but this time it is not Noah Lampe, it's Matt Wood. Fascinating. Well, maybe we'll get a battle for the lead yet. I'm not confident about that, if I'm honest. I think that Juha is holding on to something right now, and if he needs, he can turn up the wick. Possibly subscribing to that Lane Prost method of win the race as slowly as you can. We're down to 5 laps to go now. Could we see drivers simply manage it all the way to the finish line? Or will we get some action for the top spots at the end? It certainly trickled its way down. It went to the mid-pack with lots of battles. That sorted itself out, and now the lower half of the field has been staying close to each other, threatening for overtakes.
Yeah, and that battle is exactly what we already talked about for that P8 position between Suarez, Roth, and Kolnitsny. Those 3 drivers are covered right now by about 2 seconds.
Suarez certainly has something to think about. Rolf on his recovery drive has one in his sights, sets his target, but can he do anything? He's going to have to get a lot closer than this. I get the feeling that some of this seems to be down to the wake of the car ahead. It looks hard to get close behind at this point.
I'm not sure if that is due to that or due that we had a little bit of sun out and the track temperature did shoot up a little bit. It's back down again to what we had before, 75 Fahrenheit. But yeah. Roth, nonetheless, is getting closer and closer to the rear of Suarez.
Stay on this, but you can see up at the top, Noah Lampe responded, taking another fastest lap himself. Suarez goes defensive. Rolf looking around the outside of the first apex into the bus stop chicane, maybe for a crossover. Tries to get the wider exit. The launch off the corner doesn't totally work, but keeps him tight to the gearbox of Suarez. Another peek to the inside, but comes back to the racing line for La Source. Finally, right up underneath that rear wing. Can he hold on to it? Up the climb, over the crest. Eau Rouge. Radillon. Oh, he's right up underneath him. In fact, he doesn't need the slipstream. It was a fantastic run. David goes the outside line. And he's fully passed at this point, but he offers a little bit of slipstream back to Suarez. Due to that, he's deep on the brakes, takes it down to the apex. Decisive move for the number 11 car.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, they really did leave Peter Konieczny behind in their wake. He only closed back up because of the overtake now, and Suarez had to really slow down not to do anything stupid with David Roth's car. But apart from that, Peter Konieczny really lost out to these two guys ahead.
Now up to 6th place, where suddenly Andrea Ventura has caught Rotor. He wants that spot back. Work their way through the chicane. And Dustin keeping it cool up there in P6. Started in 8th. He's up 2 positions from the grid. Only has to last for 3 more laps once he gets to the line. This is going to be a good tow for Ventura. We ride on board with the New Yorker. A bit of a defensive move from Dustin Herroder. Keeps it right in the middle of the track as they come up to the bus stop. He's going to retain the position for now. The Diatch driver doing all he can to try and keep back longtime iRacing veteran Andrea Ventura.
And you can start seeing again, here comes the sun, because here it is again. The tag temperature is gonna shoot up yet again as the UV starts to rise here. So does the track, both matching that very nicely, but here comes Ventura.
This is a fantastic run. This one looking a lot better. He's going to be able to get side by side, wheel to wheel into Lacombe. Can he hold on the long way around? He's trying, but there's just not enough grip off the line.
Oh, and in behind Suarez, just under pressure of Konieczny, who are side by side through Lacombe, but Suarez able to retain his position.
I don't know about that. He knows he got a bad run off of Malmedy. And down into Ravage, going the long way around. Can he get it done? Peter's trying for it. It switches back in his favor through No Name, and I think he's got it done. Brilliant move by the number 15.
Yeah, his luck of being able to stay in P9 was only very short there for Pablo Suarez, who now has to slide in behind Peter Konieczny and see that green and red car disappear in the distance.
Maybe 2 laps to go now. Time is running out for our drivers. There you see our leader once more. Juha Norlampi crosses, doesn't set another fastest lap this time.
Just to give you a little bit of info there on that last fastest lap by Juha Norlampi, that 2:05. Well, let's just take that 2:05.210 there from Matt Wood. That is a 10th faster than these guys showed in qualifying.
I think it's, well, I was going to say it was a cooler track, but no, it's gone back up to 84 degrees on the track surface, so that's comparable to their conditions in qualifying. As we jump back to this battle once more, tight to the gearbox of her rotor, Andrea Ventura just can't seem to find a way by. Both of them nice and tidy over the crest of the hill. Oh, and Barry West has had a problem. We'll watch that replay in a bit. Ventura getting closer, looking around the outside, coming into Lacombe, but once again, just nothing doing. So this looks like it was Blanchimont that caught him out. That's unexpected.
I am just gonna guess before seeing this, it's gonna be the outside curb.
No.
Nope.
Didn't
Seems
touch it.
like-
He almost turned the car over.
Seems like that was the inside. Have to see it on board. There we go. Now we're gonna see what happened there. Did he touch the inside curb? No.
It was sliding
it-
before he touched that, though. It looks like the car just maybe was off balance.
I think that's what I talked about earlier, that the car just loosens up on the run, and I think that's what got the better of Barry West there.
Well, unfortunately, that sets him backwards to be the last car running, and nobody's managed to be lapped so far, at least to still be on track as we jump back to Ventura once again. White flag is out, but this is where the action is for Ventura, just getting denied at every opportunity.
Yeah, this action is black and white as Ventura once again goes to the outside, not able to make a move happen yet again.
Dustin Roeder, what a fantastic drive for the number 12 car. He's only got to survive for one more lap. We'll go to our leader once he gets close to the end. But right now, I want to see how this one unfolds while we've got the opportunity. Each time coming down the straight, Ventura looks like he's got great speed, trimmed out car, and then suddenly just can't capitalize. Last time up to Lacombe. Look at the weaving from Dustin Hirota, doing everything he can. Doesn't even really have to defend into the Lacombe chicane. This is looking very good for the Diatch driver. Not too many opportunities left for his rival. Towards No Name now. Tricky in just about any car, and way wide for Ventura is certainly going to cost him much of a chance. Let's jump up to Nora Lampe. What a flawless race for the number 1 car. He took pole. Does he have fastest lap though right now? He does not. He could take it in this last lap. He comes through Blanchimont. Regardless, he led every lap. Not sure that he really cares about that fastest lap. No bonus points here for that. They do it old school. Nora Lampe through the bus stop chicane. Managed the gap perfectly, and as he crosses the line, it's going to be another victory for the Preacher. Wood follows him home. Kochi takes the last step on the podium. Battle for
Dustin
6 is going to
Hirota.
get close. Go ahead.
Yeah, really extremely close. Ventura comes, but not enough yet again. So Hirota out of the chicane will lead Ventura. Does he get the drive though? Yes, he does. Big slide from Ventura behind though.
Oh! Ventura loses out. That's going to give the spot to Rolf, who just squeaks through into 7th place. 9th going to go to Konecki. 10th to Suarez. And then we got a battle for 11th. Derlicka, having started this thing in 13th. Nicely done to get up 2 spots, returning to this car into 11th. Yeah, you started calling that finish for Ventura, and I was kind of thinking, don't consider it done yet.
Yeah, interesting mistake there. Ventura tried to take the water line to get himself some drive, but it seems like he overcorrected that on the throttle and lost it to the right, thus losing out to David Roth over the line for that P8 in the very end.
And you saw on the replay, he was inches from the barrier. He almost threw it all away. I'm sure he would have been able to limp the line. Regardless, we're going to take a break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel, and we're going to show you the unofficial results afterwards, as well as give you some driver interviews. But stick around, because on screen, you're going to see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. Welcome back to Francorchamps. And you have to say the proof is in the pudding. All you got to do is look at the stats. Juha Norlampi not only took the pole, he led every lap and then took the victory. It was a romp for him. He managed it the whole way. Matt Wood tried his best, but still got the most points he could get with second place today and did gain on his championship rivals. Nicola Kochi takes P3, rounding out your podium with Adam Frazier having to fight his way to fourth. Sergio Fernandez gets a top 5, even though he started in 10th. That was a nice climb. Dustin Heroder finishes 6th. He was in a fierce fight with Ventura behind him, but it wasn't Ventura who finished behind him. David Rolfe snuck through into 7th. Ventura with a mistake after the final corner has to settle for 8th. Peter Konecki in 9th, and Pablo Suarez finishes in 10th.
Jesper Delica, your first car outside of the top 10. Also nearly 18 seconds down on Pablo Suarez. Really not that much on the pace at the very end because of some mistakes. Jean-François Boscus, he kept Jesper Delica, the number 5 car, honest all the way through the race down in 12th. Then we have another drop down to Ove Trengered, who ran into some problems himself down in 13th ahead of Melinaman, 14th, and Barry West at the very end slots in a last car to finish the race on 15th. Alex Melward and Rodrigo Capelletto, your 2 cars who did not finish this motor race today here at Spa-Francorchamps.
First driver we have to talk to is, of course, our winner, Juha Norlampi, who basically came away with just about a 2-second gap at the line. But Juha, we suspect that you were more managing that gap from what we saw. Is that accurate?
Hi, Joe. Actually, I think the main point is here to try to break that toe, and I was pushing very hard at the first laps because I knew that I could perhaps have a better car at the race fuel than Matt had, but I wasn't sure. But I was very glad that I could push so hard that I could break that toe there, and I had 1.5 seconds. I think that's what you need, 1.5 seconds with those long straights. If you are closer, then it's easy to follow then. But well, I was very glad that I could break a little bit difference, and then just try to avoid mistakes and push hard, but not too hard.
Speaking of pushing, we were watching the temperatures, and with it being mostly cloudy out here today, it was swinging back and forth nearly 10 degrees or more at times. Could you feel that out on the track when the sun came out and when it went away?
Yeah, I felt that, and I also have this crew chief which told me the temperatures, and it was actually quite tricky to adjust the car. It was changing a lot, as you said, and I think also when the temperature was it was, I think, 36, 37 degrees Celsius at the highest, and then my car wasn't that good as Matt's car, I think, because he has more wing, and then he catched me a little bit, but then I started to push and keep that gap, and at the last 2-3 laps I just eased a little bit, and we're very glad that this time the race split. I don't know how that was possible, but yeah, it's split, and I'm very glad that first time at this season I get over 200 points.
Well, that is fantastic. Next week is going to be somewhat of a similar track with Monza, with the drafts offering opportunities. Are you concerned about qualifying at all, or do you think it's not going to matter as long as you're in the first 2 rows?
Yeah, no. Well, I don't think that the qualification is so important there, but well, it's better to be at the pole than the second row at least. Well, I don't really like these kind of tracks which are very much about drafting and and well, no corners, but let's see how it goes. But I think Gernot will be back then, and he will be very strong there. So, and I want to say that these guys was very quick this weekend. Matt and Nicola and Adam, and also a few guys. But congratulations to them also. What happened to Alex Milward?
He had a little contact, unfortunately, in Malmedy and had to retire, we believe, because of too much damage. He didn't seem to be terribly happy for it.
Okay, that's too bad. But thank you very much, guys, and have a good week, and God bless you all.
That was the preacher, Juhan Orlampi, taking the victory today. Even curious about his competitors. Fascinated that he can pay that close attention. Steph is caught up with third-place finisher, the Italian, Nicola Cocci.
Yeah, and Nicola Cocci keeping Matt Wood ahead of him. Quite honest throughout the whole race, but never really opening there for you. How did it feel for you, Nicola, just not being able to do anything with the pace of Matt Wood?
Yeah. Hi guys. Actually, I never had a chance on Matt. Honestly, I was able to stay close to him thanks to the toll on the straight. But on the last part of the race, I did a couple of mistakes on braking, and Matt was able to get me in 1.5 second around there. And after that, I was losing 1 or 2 tenths every lap. Honestly, I couldn't even push it because I don't know why I had some kind of braking on my wheel because all of a sudden it was very very soft, and actually I wasn't able to tell if the wheel was going to break or not. So I just tried to adapt on that kind of driving. So I wasn't like super confident to push the car and try to make back that gap. So I was just thinking about finishing the race, and that's it.
So basically, your survival instinct kicked in there, but nonetheless, you were about 8 seconds ahead of P4, and any podium finish is a solid finish. But let's go a week ahead, Monza, without the first chicane, if I remember correctly. How are you looking forward to that track?
Oh well, actually, Monza is a track that I never really liked in general, but for some reason with the 79, it's very fun for me if you ask me. I think that it's one of the track that I perform the best there, and so I kind of looking forward to that and see how it goes.
Well, home turf always should be another, little bit of boost there for you in a Monza. But Nicola, as always, thank you so very much for joining us in here up in the booth and talk to us after your phenomenal race in P3. And next up, Barry West talking to Joe Peak.
Barry, unfortunately, finishing 15th today. And Barry, we caught your slide through Blanchimont, and we were trying to figure out what exactly happened. How'd the car get away from you? What caused it?
I haven't a clue. I don't know. I've just been watching it myself, and I thought I might touch a curb and kept my foot in a bit too much. I was pushing after I'd made a mistake earlier down in Stavilo, went a bit wide on the lap before. But I don't know whether the tyres or what. I just checked the tyres, everything's right. It was just before I caught the curb as well. So whether the fun just went, I don't know. I don't know what happened. That's a mystery. Where there was a bit of damage that came in after the little tap with Ove into the bus stop. It's a bit frustrating that I was behind him for quite a few laps, and I was quicker in certain places, but just couldn't get by. And then I did try to go down the inside of the bus stop and braked earlier, and just locked up, and just because he turned in, I had nowhere to go, so I unfortunately touched him. But so I gave him the place back. Otherwise, I thought I could have caught Jean-Francois up, and yeah, could have been a good race. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame that with 3 laps to go. Still, that's racing.
Yeah, it's glad to hear you at least have a pragmatic view on things. But iRacing apparently getting some things right. Changeable conditions here today. About the only thing missing was the actual rain. How did you deal with that? Did you set up a car with the changeable conditions in mind, or do you aim for anything in particular?
No, I didn't even set up the car. I mean, I've just first race I've done really. I mean, I did the earlier race, but didn't last the first lap. And then really this was my only practice this week at this track. That's why it showed in the qualifying time. I think I was really off pace. But no, I borrowed a setup from somebody and just tried to drive around it. But it was strange because when it kept telling you the track was cooling, you knew you had more grip. When the track was warming up, I just felt, you take it steady. But then, the end was in sight and everything was going fine. Did the fastest lap, I think, the 2 laps before. And then, I was just pushing too hard, I suppose, or lack of concentration at the end of the race. Must be something like that. But the conditions, they changed quite a lot. The race before was a really cold race, and you don't know what to do. I mean, there's some talk in the forums. The top guys, they just keep the same tyre pressures and just drive around it. But they're fast no matter what the tyre pressures are. And I just mess around with the tyre. I know in the colder weather you can drop the pressures and you get more grip and you can drop the wing off. And you can be locked faster, but when it changes that much in the race, I don't know how much was it changing by.
So I guess their advice was get better, which doesn't always help.
Yeah. Just practice, and more practice. That's all you need.
Well, commiserations, unfortunately, on the race getting away from you, Barry. Hopefully, we'll see you at Monza.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
That was Barry West, 15th in a 17 car field. Usually he tends to finish a little bit better in this series. So with that, we're going to close up today. And of course, we want to thank the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But also a thanks goes out to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Steph, Amjed, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget, head on over to our YouTube page. If you're not there already, hit that big red subscribe button and don't miss a moment here on the GSRC. Next race, we're heading over to Italy. That'll be Monza. However, it is the GP course without the first chicane. These drivers like to do that, and it certainly puts on a lot of exciting action on the front stretch. That'll be May 12th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.